Hello everyone and welcome to SnailTV. The hero of today's retelling is the drama detective The Voyeurs of 2021. A young couple, Pippa and Thomas, are taking an essential step in their relationship. They move into their joint apartment in Montreal. It's already night outside. The couple is discussing their wishes for the future. Thomas would like to learn to play the accordion, and Pippa would like a solid handover. Suddenly, they notice that their windows look directly into the apartment across the street, where a man with a professional studio is photographing a woman. Pippa and Thomas see a couple making love in the windows. The girl said it was not worth spying on strangers and suggested going to bed. A new day is coming. Pippa is going to work. She is interning in ophthalmology. Upon arrival, the boss of the company hands the girl a gift. A woman makes a speech about birds. In Japan, they say that these are two-winged eyes because they have such sharp eyesight that they can notice a lone ant crawling along the sidewalk from the height of an 8-story building. Pippa opens the box and it turns out to be a bird feeder. Upon arriving home, Pippa finds Thomas drawing himself and the girl on the blackboard with chalk. They are again watching the couple opposite. Thomas would like to meet them. They jokingly come up with names for these young people, Brent and Margot. But then Brent chokes on a roll, and Pippa sends Thomas to run to them to save the man. The girl notices the suffocating man and helps him spit a piece from his throat. Night falls. Pippa got out of bed and squinted into the apartment opposite. There, she saw the girl leaving the house. The next day comes. Thomas is sitting in the apartment and minding his own business. He writes music while sipping water with chlorophyll. He notices how Brent is photographing models in his apartment. Pippa, returning home, buys binoculars in the store. In the evening, they watch together as Brent photographs a naked girl and then seduces her. And after that, Pippa and Thomas begin to make love watching the couple opposite. Our couple gathered in a cafe with friends and discussed the latest developments. Pippa had the desire to eavesdrop on the conversations of people opposite. It turns out that Thomas could make a laser pointer an object for eavesdropping. After returning home, the couple wants to implement this method. Thomas warns that this is against the law. And yet, for everything to work, a reflective surface is needed to direct the beam back at them. At this time, Brent and Margot are having a Halloween party. Pippa has an idea in her head. She wants to sneak into the party without an invitation and install a small mirror on some object next to the glass, so that she can direct the beam of a laser pointer. Without wasting time, the couple enters the party by dressing up, adhering to the style of the people there. They pose as guests. Once there, Brent in a satyr costume grabs Pippa, takes her to a place to create photos, and then takes several pictures. Next, Pippa installs a mirror in the apartment, allowing her and Thomas to eavesdrop on conversations. Thomas carries Pippa back home on his shoulders. They install a laser pointer on a microphone tripod and try to hit the mirror with the beam. In the end, they succeed and hear about the couple's scandal. They are unsettled after hearing how Margot makes claims to Brent about his adultery. Brent convinces Margot that her suspicions are unfounded. The guy hits the girl on the cheek and her glasses break. The next day, Margot, whose real name is Julia, visits the ophthalmology where Pippa works. The girl needs to check her eyesight and pick up glasses. Pippa examines her eye and notices a new set of stylish glasses recommended by her. After the procedure, Julia suggests that Pippa go to the spa to relax. Thomas watches Brent, who is once again photographing a new model, already an African-American. He also seduces her, but she does not immediately agree. Pippa tells Thomas everything. Julia came to their clinic, and the girl invited her to hang out together. Pippa wants to warn Julia about the betrayal of Brent, but Thomas insists that she stop spying on the neighbors. Thomas doesn't like the idea of the girl, and he decides to go to the bar. Later, Pippa and Julia meet at the spa. Julia reveals that her husband's name is Sebastian, or Seb, and he's a famous photographer. She told how they meet, and the girl doesn't know how to live without him because he's all she has. At one point, when the two girls are in the pool, Pippa accidentally calls Julia Margot. There was an awkward silence, but the girls quickly change the subject. Their meeting ends. Pippa watches Seb make love in the threesome and then throws the condom in the trash. Now spying on the opposite couple has become an addiction for Pippa. She wakes up at night and watches them. Later, she learns how to access Julia and Seb's wireless printer, which she used to expose Seb's infidelities to Julia anonymously. At the very beginning she wrote, "Your husband is cheating on you" on the printer, and only then she mentioned the condom in the trash as proof. Thomas argues with Pippa about her interest in Julia and Seb's life. After reading the sheet, Thomas sees how Julia wants to stick a kitchen knife into Sebastian, but still doesn't dare. The following day, Pippa apologizes to Thomas and promises to stop spying on the neighbors. However, they then see Seb discover Julia's body in the bathroom after she cuts her throat. Thomas blames Pippa for Julia's death, breaks up, and leaves. At the clinic, Pippa notices glasses made for Julia. The girl decides to call her to apologize and express her condolences. Despite the broken heart, Pippa continues to watch Seb and sees how much he is suffering and grieving over the death of a loved one. One evening, she decides to follow him to the nearest pub. Seb sits next to Pippa and they begin a conversation on very frank topics. He asks her to let him take a picture of her in his apartment, to which she agrees. Seb convinces Pippa to pose nude for him, and eventually they make love. Returning home with flowers, Thomas drinks water with chlorophyll, which Pippa left in the refrigerator. But this drink seems too disgusting to him, and he pours it into the bird feeder. He notices another girlfriend of Seb's out of the corner of his eye, but looking throughout binoculars, he sees Pippa in this friend. The following day, terrified Pippa finds Thomas dead in their apartment. He hanged himself. The next day, Pippa meets with her friend Ari. She speaks out to her and is ready to accept any communication outcome from a friend. She decided to support Pippa. The girls go to the Seb exhibition. Once there, the event begins, and the terrible secret is revealed. The photographer's collection collaborates with Julia, who is alive. It turns out that Pippa and Thomas are the objects of the exhibition themselves. Seb and Julia divulge that they own the apartment that Pippa and Thomas rented, whose lease included a clause stating that they agreed to be photographed, and they knew they were being watched. Upset, Pippa leaves. She moves out of the apartment and notices dead birds on the grate under her feeder. After an interview about their exhibition, Seb and Julia return home and find a bottle of wine at their door as a congratulation. Seb asks Julia if he feels guilty, but the answer is negative. While drinking wine, Pippa sends a message to their princess saying that she knows they killed Thomas. Pippa runs away from the couple, bringing them to ophthalmology clinic where she works. The girl asks not to touch her and pretends she is scared, but everything is wrong. She concludes that while making love to Seb, Julia poisoned Thomas' drink and staged suicide. Pippa also reveals that she slipped a sleeping drug into their wine, causing Julia and Seb to faint. Pippa puts both of them under a vision correction machine and using it to burn their corneas. Next, we're shown how a new couple of guys moved into Thomas and Pippa's former apartment. They watch Seb and Julia in their apartment, both of whom are now blind. The girl watches the couple from the roof before leaving her binoculars. It was the American drama The Voyeurs on the SnailTV channel. Put likes, leave comments, subscribe, and we'll be back soon with a new exciting retelling.